everyone. I'm here
No
with
worries.
Cory Choy, and you were not only the director of your new film, Esme, My Love, but you're also one of the writers and one of the producers of the film. Um, I did watch the film, and I got to hand it to you. I thought it was amazing. For being a quiet film, the suspense just built up the whole time. I didn't lose interest at all. It was beautifully shot. The soundtrack, the score was just absolutely amazing. I loved it. It was just, and for only having two actors in the film, I thought that was so unique. And, you had Aubrey Grace Marshall as Esme, and I remember her from The Flight Attendant from HBO. A lot of people have been watching that, and then also Stacey, I believe I'm saying it, Wexton.
Yes, that's Stacey Wexstein.
Wexstein, okay, is the mom, Hannah, and Esme's emotional and physical journey was portrayed, I thought, magnificently through the whole film. Did a really great job. It was just beautiful. Where did you shoot at?
Ryan, keep saying nice things to me, please. This is making me very happy. Thank you. I just want nice people telling me that my movie is wonderful all day. No, but the movie was able to be what it was because we thought for a very long time, and I thought for a very long time about assembling the right team. A film is only as good as the filmmakers that make it with you. And as a director and a producer, my greatest accomplishment was bringing on the collaborators that I did for this film. And it looks the way it looks because of my collaboration with Fletcher Wolf, my cinematographer. She is, in my honest opinion, just very, very, and I know this is going to sound a little hyperbolic, but I do think she's one of the greatest living cinematographers right now. And I knew that she was the one to work with. And I think this film shows why she was the one to work with. In terms of the score, I knew very early on, there's been a voice throughout my entire life that has haunted me. And when I needed to bring something that spoke to love, empathy, heartbreak, nostalgia, sorrow, it had to be the voice of Charlotte Littlehales. There's no other voice that will do that. And throughout the film, she embodies, her voice embodies something that you can't say in language. And that's something that I knew very, very early on. In terms of where we shot, it was in Hague, New York, on the family grounds of the DeLarme family. And there's three sisters, Sherry, Susie, and Sally. Sherry, Susan, and Sally. And Sally is the town historian. And a lot of the stories she would tell me and my co-writer Laura when we visited to do some research there, many of those stories were incorporated into this story. Is it a one-for-one retelling of somebody in their family? No. But are many of the things from their family history and lore incorporated into this film? Absolutely.
Because as I was watching it, did have that personal appeal to it. And that's what I was going to ask you. Was it based on loose events, anything in your life? Because it just felt like it was something to that in that respect.
So there actually is somebody named Hannah in the family from, a great-great-grandmother or a great-great-great-great-grandmother. And actually some of her personal effects were actually used in the film. So the St. Christopher's medal was actually a 100-plus-year-old St. Christopher's medal from the family itself. We had a little box of Hannah's stuff that when the treasure chest was opened up, there were Hannah's glasses. That was a real Hannah in the family.
Very cool.
Did everything happen? Did she have a daughter named Esme? No, she didn't have a daughter named Esme. But the other kernel, basically the two sources for the inspiration for this film were the DeLarme family history and lore, and then the story that a woman told me about seeing an angel for the first time. And when she recounted the story to me, when she first recounted the story to me, it actually sounded quite horrifying.
Yeah.
And then she clarified to me that no, this was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. I saw an angel, I saw God. And just that that stuck in my head. To me, something that just seems absolutely terrifying could be somebody's most beautiful moment. And just the strangeness, but also just like, I think that's kind of like what it's like to really love somebody. It's the most beautiful and horrible thing at once.
Mm-hmm.
Because terrible in the biblical sense, if that makes sense. Like truly awing is what a relationship where there's love involved and ends up being.
And speaking of kind of on that theme of love, one of the themes I kind of noticed that was kind of terrifying, if you think of, like, when I started really thinking about it, was the fact that you have a parent that's no longer at times stable, and she's kind of losing touch with reality and not having the ability to hold together. And we rely on our parents to hold together. They're like the grounding force for any child. So just kind of see that was kind of scary, because I started thinking about my parents, how I would feel as a child if my parents just started kind of going off the deep end, so to speak. So that was really well portrayed in the film.
That's one of the other inspirations. I mean, there's a moment that everybody experiences in their life. That's I'm sure many people can pinpoint it exactly when. There's a moment when you realize that your parents are not infallible, and you realize that they're human. And that's pivotal. That's absolutely pivotal. It changes the way everything is. There's no going back.
Yeah.
Once you open that. And it's a loss of innocence, but it's also a gain of experience and a rite of passage when you understand that. And that moment is also a huge inspiration for this film.
Yeah, most definitely. And you can see it throughout its progression. And, you had two wonderful actors in this film. How was the casting process? Did it take a long time to find them? Like, because I know you had to, it wasn't just one person, they both had to mesh together, mother and daughter.
The casting process was extremely intense. We were doing it on a very low budget. It was also non-union casting at the time. As soon as we finished filming, Audrey got scooped up by the union very quickly, and she subsequently appeared on Jessica Jones and The Flight Attendant, and then starred in her own Paramount Plus show. So we were very lucky to catch Audrey when she was 9 years old. The casting process worked this way. They sent in their first audition as a self-tape. We then brought people in person to the studio where they would read, and we were kind of mixing and matching different potential Esmes with different potential Hannahs. And then we narrowed it down to 6 of each, and we actually went into Prospect Park in New York City, into the woods, and again did another round of intense callbacks with filming from 2 different angles. And at the end of that process, there just wasn't anybody else we could cast. They were so perfect for each other. But it was long and it was intense, and it was hard because I guess I'm a little spoiled in this way. There were some really, really amazing actresses. And I think several of them could have told a version of the story very, very, very well. But it became obvious that to tell this version of the story, it had to be Audrey, it had to be Stacy. But it actually broke my heart, because at the end of that casting process, like, well, I could make a different movie or 3 different movies with these different casts, but it wouldn't have been this film.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have the resources. I think if I had the resources, maybe I would have. But Audrey, especially, I mean, she's just a unique talent. And you don't, as a director, you don't find someone like Audrey that young, that talented, often in your career. I think she's kind of like a once in a career find. And Stacy, it's funny, most people would say, oh gosh, this child's going to have to work really hard to keep up and get through their chops is a challenging part. I felt sorry for whoever was going to be, not sorry. I felt excited for whoever was going to be, but I felt excited for Stacy. But she had to really and she did. She really brought her A game and did it. But you usually think of the child needing to keep up with the actress. It's not like Stacey had to like fight to keep up with Audrey, but like she came in on equal footing, and that's very rare for a child actress. And Stacey was remarkable when it came to channeling so many different things without having a whole lot of opportunities to speak.
And speaking of the challenges as well, how was the underwater shooting?
So there's we planned the heck out of this movie, but one thing I was unable to plan for was the original time we were going to shoot the underwater scenes with this underwater housing, and it broke. And we could only get to this location once. We crossed a ferry. We got to this location. I spent a lot of resources to get there. We all went there on a boat. We get there, and the underwater housing breaks. And I was just devastated. Then, coincidentally, one of my crew members drops her phone into the water, and we're going, oh gosh. And she goes, don't worry, it's the new iPhone, it's waterproof. And I go, give me that iPhone. And we shoot some of it underwater there with a few of those shots. Just a couple of those shots make it into the film, but then we ended up having to do reshoots. Again, absolute tribute to my cinematographer, because believe it or not, the underwater shot, one of the iconic shot with Hannah coming at you with camera, was actually shot in a swimming pool.
Oh, really?
And it does not look like it's in a swimming pool.
Oh.
It looks like it's in a lake, and that is because my cinematographer and my art department know what they're doing. And again, bringing that team who can say, okay, we're going to make this happen and we're going to do it well. That was what allowed me to make the film that I wanted to make, was really just having the right collaborators.
No, it does make a difference, because I couldn't tell. And it's just like, it reminds me of Jaws. Spielberg shot the Ben Gardner boat with the head coming out in a swimming pool. So
the other thing actually I should mention is Stacey herself. I said, hey, can you swim? That was a prerequisite for this role. Yes, I can swim. Then we go to the reshoots. Can you swim and dive? Yes. Can you dive and then aim directly for the camera? Yes. And then she goes, oh yeah, do you want me to say anything too? I happen to do some underwater modeling. I was like, what? So Stacey did not tell me on her resume that she's done underwater modeling before. But that gave us the ability. I mean, she really brought her A game. Not only did she hit her mark with the dive, not only did she go straight at the camera without hitting the camera, because it's a very expensive camera. So she did the dive, she hit her mark, and then she has to intelligibly or visibly intelligibly say something that the audience can understand without hearing. I mean, it's a very challenging thing to do. She did it 6 times in a row flawlessly.
Wow. That modeling paid off then.
And it just got better each time.
Because doing anything underwater is difficult. I mean, just for the normal person, So that's, wow. That is really, and it turned out great. It turned out great.
And it's funny. You talk to Stacey. I believe you will be talking to Stacey later, actually.
I hope.
And she'll just kind of go like, oh, and she'll just kind of go, oh yeah, I do that.
That is so.
That's just something I do.
And then, how long was filming? Because I read somewhere that it was over. I was confused. It said over a few years, and it said it was a couple of weeks. So
no. So from conception, we conceived of the film a few years before we actually filmed. Okay. And then we filmed in 2018. We had very short. This is a very low budget film. We only had a $90,000 shooting budget. We shot the film in 13 days of principal photography, and then there were 2 pickup days scheduled. So 13 days of principal photography is all we had. And then 2 scheduled pickup days. No, it's not. And I'm very, very proud. Again, Did things go insane when we got on set and did all hell break loose? Yes, that's what happens on indie films. But because of the team that we had and the planning we had done, it didn't fall apart to the point where the movie couldn't be made.
Yeah.
And I think that's a true testament again to the folks I brought on, particularly everyone, but especially our art department, Kyra Baselli and Jackie Lalo. It was a team of two who did all the art for the film. And when we said, hey, the picture card has gone kaput, can you find an identical car with the exact same interior? Jackie goes, yes. Hey, we need to reshoot the farmhouse. I need you to replicate the floor exactly. Can you do that? Oh yeah, give me 6 hours. And so without that art department and their can-do attitude, the reshoots would never have happened. Oh, hey, Fletcher, we didn't get our underwater shots. Do you know how to light a pool to make it look like a lake? Oh, yeah, I did that in this music video before. Easy. This is the pool we should use. This is how we do the lighting. I'm going to need 3 people to hold this scrim over here, and we're going to drop some leaves in when she dives in. It's going to look great. That's the sort of thing that my team brought to the table. A director is only as good, a filmmaker is only as good as the collaborators they're working with.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, they sound like they knew exactly what they needed, and what, and it's, like I said, it came out great. You never would have known the swimming pool. That is awesome. Are you working on anything right now? You have anything in the pipeline?
Yes, I have a horror sci-fi, much more conventional, much more genre than this piece. The basic conceit is, what if everything wrong with the internet and social media was personified by an actual living being that has decided to take on the form of a popular kids cartoon? So the next project I'm working on is called Demo Duck, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a podcast version first, and then hopefully a visual version.
Definitely have to check that out. It sounds very unique. I like it.
There's a teaser for it now. I'm very excited. I'm going to be in this year's Tribeca Festival with a piece called Aisha. That's an audio only piece. And so as part of the preparation for Aisha screening at Tribeca, we've released teasers for different projects I'm interested in. So we have 4 podcast properties that we've released on the Silver Podcast Network. If you go to, you just go to, the internet and type Silver Podcast Network, you'll find our 4 teasers of the 4 projects I'm most excited about right now. The one that I think just has the best title, but is the least developed so far, but it's going to develop itself when we really get into it. ASM Murderer. So like ASMR and murder. Anyways, very excited about that one. Think Dexter meets Only Murders in the Building.
Sounds good. We love Dexter, so that'd be great. And then I noticed for this one, Terror Films for this project. Are they distributing it? Because I know they're on Tubi a lot with all their films. So is this going to be going to Tubi anytime soon?
Yeah, this is coming out on Tubi on June 2nd. Terror Films will be doing the domestic release. Glasshouse Films will be doing the international release. I've retained currently theatrical rights. So if anybody wants to purchase my theatrical rights and take me on a theatrical tour, please call me up. I do think this film is best in its theatrical setting on a big screen. Yeah. And in terms of DVDs and Blu-ray physical media, I will actually be selling those myself. So if somebody wants to buy a DVD or Blu-ray, they go to the website. I will be burning it myself and sending it to you. But the actual North American online release is through Terror Films, and they'll be taking it to Tubi, Amazon, Google Play, Apple, and then more platforms to be rolled out, I believe. But I don't know the exact plan yet, but I know the initial release will be on those 4 platforms.
A physical release will be nice. We got to keep physical media alive, so glad you're doing that.
Oh yeah, that's me on my own though. So please do order a DVD or a Blu-ray. To find the film itself, You just go to esmemylove.com on June 2nd. That's when everything goes live, and you'll actually be able to watch the film itself. There'll be links everywhere it goes on esmemylove.com.
Perfect. And then to find you on social media, where can people find you?
If you want to see tons of pictures of my kids, you can go to Instagram. I don't really have like a professional social media. I guess I'm kind of a Luddite in that sense. I guess I do post about this film a lot on Facebook, but generally that's like my dad reading that. My name is Cory Choy. It's relatively unique. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. It's generally me if you see something to do with Esme or you see a bunch of really cute kids. But most of my professional work you'll find through Silver Sound or Silver, my company.
Okay. Perfect. I'll go ahead and then I'll link everything in for everybody so they can definitely check it out when the film's released. And again, thank you so much. This is a great opportunity to speak with you, about this film. And I hope people are going to enjoy it. I've been kind of peeking around the internet a little bit, and people are saying it's beautifully shot. And
it's pretty divisive. I think there's really just people who love it, and then there's people who absolutely hate it. And generally, the people who absolutely hate it are the same kind of people who would just like absolutely hate like something like Tree of Life or The Babadook. It's not an easy film.
No,
and it's not a passive film. You need to be an active participant in this film. So the people who really identify and love the film, I haven't really found anyone who's been middle of the road about it. They either love it or they hate it. And generally, it comes down to, are you able to figure out who Emily is? And the people who do generally really like it, and the people who don't generally don't. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler for folks, but
and I think it deserves a second watch, because I'm going to watch it again. I think that I'm going to find out a lot more, because you tend to look for different things, so I think it's definitely worth checking out again.
I think when I'll generally find that the people who watch it 2 or 3 times like it the most. And I hope I earn that from people. I hope I earn people wanting to see it 2 or 3 times. There've been a few for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to have the opportunity for a wider audience to see this. It's been on the festival circuit so far, and so while that was a very rewarding process, only a few hundred people have seen this film so far.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting for me to have this opportunity to release it to the general public.
And I think with it going on Tubi, you're going to have a much larger audience that's going to check it out.
Sorry, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. What's your email address so I can send you the audio file if you'd like it?
Yeah, for sure. It's ryan.ihorror@gmail.com.
Great.
Then if something happens and you can't remember, you can just email PR and they can give you my email address.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm also excited for your listeners and watchers to hopefully check out my film.
Yeah, I am too. And thanks again, Cory, and have a great day. And I hope to talk to you soon about your other projects.
Please do.
Definitely.
Cheers.
I'll reach out. Take care.